Alright guys, today I've got a nice combination build for you. This is actually a remastered version from a build that I had back in April, if you guys remember, if you guys have been with me that long. Basically it was designed for, anti-clutch at the time. That was the huge meta. The approach I went was, hit them from far and then blast them up close. And that's basically what I've done in this one. I've combined, kind of a sniper shield build. It's basically a kind of a stealth, surprise, sneak attack type build. They think you're a sniper, they're just going to try to rush you, they're going to try to hit you, and they think you're going to be weak and vulnerable, and then you pull out a shield and you smash them in the face with a double barrel. That's kind of the thing that I love about this type of build. You come running at someone thinking you're going to get an easy kill, thinking they're weak, thinking they're down, and then the next thing you know, they just pull out this surprise freaking package for you, and you've already engaged, you've already pushed into them, and there's nothing you can really do about it. And this build basically just combines like a lot of the things that I actually like about the Division, right? I like counters, okay? I like freaking different play styles. I like distance. I don't always want to be up close and just face hugging someone. Like if they choose to come to me, hey, game on, right? If I happen to sneak up behind a whole bunch of them, again, that's fantastic. But like, I don't want to just rush out into the front of everything, just firing randomly. Like that's not fun to me. Okay, a lot of people seem to like that style, I guess, or they want that style, whatever. I'm not doing that. I like to play a little bit more, strategic, a little bit more intelligent. I like to actually, try to use cover when possible. I like to actually make this like a tactical shooter type game. And with this build, it actually feels, kind of like that, because I can compete up close. Or I could choose to stay farther back. Is this build going to, win you every, 2v1 or 3v1? Probably not, because it's a shield build. Most shield builds depend on a certain aspect of playstyle, right? And if somebody's behind you, you can't roll, you can't dodge, you can't do the gimmicky stuff that every face hugger in the Division does with a shield build. It's a lot more difficult for you. So in that aspect, you have to play smarter. You have to play, pick your battles a little bit better. And that's why I have, this combined with a long distance weapon, because what I want to do is I want to get that one guy. I want to pull him. I want to piss him off, pull him towards me, and then while I'm in cover and he doesn't know what's going to happen, pop out the shield, double barrel to the face, and lights out, right? That is the goal of this build. That is what makes this build work very well, because players do not expect it. And even if they do expect it, half the time they still can't even deal with the shield, right? I mean, to deal with the shield, generally speaking, you have to have a super damage type build, right? You have to have like clutch with, all the freaking trimmings, or you have to have just a freaking, god roll sniper build just fully maxed out. And that's the easiest way to deal with the shield. But especially in PvP now, most players aren't running a build like that. Most players are running the high armor type builds. I don't want to say it's the counter to the high armor meta, but you can see what I'm saying, that if they don't have the damage, they can't do damage to you, and they can't heal faster than you can do damage to them. So eventually, in a long-lasting fight, even if they were doing, all the healing they could, they're not going to be able to break your shield. They're going to keep taking more and more damage, and eventually they're going to lose. And as you can see here, I'm basically just spec'd into rifle damage, assault rifle damage, and shotgun damage. And of course, the other main reason that I'm actually spec'd into the technician is for the 50% skill power bonus. Alright, and diving into the skills here, you can see I'm using the Artificer Hive. Obviously, for me, the Artificer Hive is a no-brainer if you're running the shield. Obviously, you sacrifice a lot of your, own personal healing, but I generally believe that if you're a shield builder, you should be focusing on healing the shield as much as possible. I mean, that's your number one defense anyway, right? You want that up, because if that's up and you're just, facing an enemy, they're not going to drop you, right? If you're using it correctly, you're not going to get hit. So you want as much life on that shield as possible. You can see I've got, just the basic mods from the Technician Specialization, 30% radius, 30% skill haste. This can come in handy if you're using, your Artificer to actually heal somebody temporarily, toss it out to just heal their friggin', their Seeker or their Mender, or, whatever the heck. But most of the time it's just going to be on my back anyway. So the skill power and, the mods for it, they honestly don't really matter much. Diving into my shield though, you can see that with that 3,000 skill power, I've got 1.9 million health on it, which is incredible, right? 28-second cooldown, which is not too bad for only having a little bit of skill haste. Then obviously diving into the mods, you can see there I've got 95% health, 92% health, 97% health. So this is where you want your skill power at. And obviously I know a lot of people probably do not have some of these insane shield power rolls, but I would suggest you guys go out there and find these, because if you have any interest in a shield power build, you definitely want really high skill power rolls on your mods, because that just gives you even more opportunity to put damage or armor onto your actual build itself, right? 300, and this one's got 400. Right there, that's a huge chunk. All right, and jumping into the actual build itself, we've got classic M1A, basically got boomerang, extra, and in rhythm. I could be using the Diamondback for this build, but I'll get into that here a little bit later. My secondary is the Police M4. It's got a really good damage roll on it too, but this one's got Ranger stability and recharged. Recharge isn't that important, but I do like this weapon, so that's why I pretty much picked this one. Obviously, you could probably get a little bit better with the talents depending on what your needs are. Normally, I run with this one, my P416, but since obviously I have too many red rolls, I can't use Optimist, so I'm just running with something else. And for my sidearm, I am using the double-barreled sawed-off. I would like to get premeditated, and again, I'm going to go into this in a little bit here. You could probably just use a different one if you don't have premeditated active with this build. Sadly, I don't have any other sawed-offs on my characters, so I'm pretty much kind of just using this one until I can get a better one. But it does have 10% reload and protected deploy, which is alright for the build, I guess. It's not really anything great. I would rather have the protected reload, but we'll take what I got, right? Diving into my mask, obviously a Hollow Man mask here for that 100% hazard protection, pretty much the only purpose of this mask. My backpack, obviously a very common backpack that a lot of people have seen. Total armor, high armor roll. Not the best armor roll, I could probably get better on there, but I'll take it for right now. It's got hardened, and obviously I've got a couple mods on there for shield power, and of course for armor and total armor. For my chest piece, I'm using my Pristine Example. This thing's pretty beastly. I could roll a little bit better weapon damage on there, but I'm not really, I don't need it that much. I don't need an additional 1% that much, okay? It's not really going to make or break the build. But it's also got a huge headshot bonus, which is great for the rifles, and perfect vigilance, which I'm not going to use so much with the shotgun, but definitely comes in handy with the rifle. And then you can see here I've got a shotgun damage mod and, of course, another total armor mod. And then for my rifle, I'm running Overlord Armaments gloves. And the reason I'm doing this is so I can get the 2 attributes and the talent. Now, I also get the rifle damage on this one, which comes in handy. It's rolled into shotgun damage, which is great for the build. It's got a little bit of skill power, which also helps with my current setup. And then the talent is obviously 15% headshot damage, which comes in, again, really handy for both the shotgun and the rifle. Now moving into my holster, I've got a China Light. Obviously, I've got the 2-piece for that shotgun damage, and then I've got skill haste to get the shield back a little bit quicker, and I got a good amount of skill power on this too. And then, of course, I've got an additional shield mod on there. And then in my knee pads, another China Light for that 2nd piece. Roll skill power, empowered, and it's got a good offensive mod with the shotgun damage and 2% rifle damage as well. Now, the things that I would like to change about this build, there are a couple ways. One, I would like to get premeditated on the actual build itself, if I could, right? But to do that, I would need to change out my my holster. That would remove one of my yellow rolls, but it would also remove the skill haste. Okay, so it really depends on how you want to do the build, right? I have kind of a balanced focus with rifles and shotguns in this build. That is the kind of intent, okay, as you saw in my footage. If I wanted to go more rifle, I could. If I wanted to go more shield, I could. If I wanted to go more shotgun, I could. I think that the way that I have it right now is pretty balanced. If I got rid of if I got rid of yellow rolls to activate premeditated, my shotgun or my shield cooldown would be on 40 seconds, which, it's a little bit too long when your build is dependent on having that shield as your defense. I do have 300k armor, but that's still not really that impressive. Obviously you want to have 400 or more. So I do try to have it kind of balanced out with the shield, and if my shield is just gone for way too long, then it puts me in a very vulnerable position. Now, one way I could do it is if I could remove skill power from this one and put crit chance, and then it obviously would help me get even more crit chance with this build here. I could roll that to 15%, and that could be really good for adding some extra crit chance. Obviously, I've got 5% already on that. As of this setup, I think this is pretty good for the pieces that I have and kind of the balance that I'm trying to achieve. And like I said in the video, my point with this build is that I'm kind of trying to trick players to come towards me so I can get them on a 1v1. My point is that I don't want to get surrounded by multiple players. I want to kind of pick one off at a time and lure them to me so I can take them out. Alright guys, that'll do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some ideas for your build, and I will see you in the next one.